Dead Island 2 is a game that has been in somewhat active development for almost a decade now, whilst moving between more studios than any game ever should. And with its rumored Gamescom re-reveal, I thought it would be best to explain to people why exactly, despite all the hype myself and others have for the game, you should actually avoid supporting the game through pre-ordering at the very least, due to the state the franchise has been in for 8 years, as well as the long history of development abuse this franchise has put devs through. But to truly understand the reasoning behind why you should not even consider buying Dead Island 2 until there are plenty of reviews out after the game's launch, we need to go all the way back to before 2011, when the original Dead Island game was released. Techland over the years has built itself up to be one of the most well-respected gaming companies in the industry, whilst being unanimously associated with the zombie genre. But that wasn't always the case. When Techland was initially conceptualizing the original title, they were a company with zero power and one with absolutely no grounds to stand on within the industry, which led to them having to look to publishers to help get funding, as well as release Dead Island. And both luckily plus unluckily for them, they succeeded thanks to Deep Silver. With their help, they crafted one of the most iconic game trailers of all time that told the tragic story of a random little girl's death in reverse, with the most immaculate cinematography to back it up, resulting in it becoming a massive success with over 5 million copies sold. However, with Deep Silver essentially being Techland's only option, this did come at a fairly large cost. Deep Silver would be the sole owner of the Dead Island IP, so upon the release of Dead Island in typical fashion with AAA publishers, Techland was forced to rush out Dead Island Riptide merely 2 years after the original game released, in order to capitalize on the success of its predecessor, and this was met with, to say the very least, mixed reception. Riptide was a controversial title, undeniably forced out of the door, and a year after its release, Deep Silver announced Dead Island 2, a game we are all familiar with thanks to yet again one of the greatest gaming trailers created of all time. Although a release date never came, and we are still waiting for one 8 years later, with the only potential release date we have being from a recently updated Amazon listing. But why exactly has it taken so excruciatingly long for Dead Island 2 to even get close to escaping its GTA 6-esque release date rumors created every single year? It all comes down to the deal made between Deep Silver and Techland over a decade ago, which gave Silver all of the creative control and ownership of the IP, meaning over time the relationship between the two was destined to collapse eventually, thanks to the overwhelming strain on the vision Techland had for their project that didn't align with what Deep Silver wanted. In an interview, a Techland developer stated despite of its success, even with Dead Island there were lots of problems where we would disagree on the creative vision of the project. Although Techland also clarified they were still friends with the folks over at Deep Silver, their predominantly negative relationship led to a separation between the two, ultimately finalized with Dying Light's announcement in 2014, along with Warner Bros. Coming as its publisher, with Techland maintaining full creative control, something Deep Silver would not allow any studio to do with the Dead Island IP for the next decade, and Deep Silver was certainly not going to let that slide, causing the historic reveal of Dead Island 2 soon after Dying Light's original reveal, amassing 26 million views on PlayStation Australia's channel alone, though the ending promotion screen shocked many fans as Techland was not mentioned anywhere, due to Yager being set for the original developers behind the game. Now you're probably wondering how any of what I just discussed is remotely relevant to Dead Island 2 in the modern day. Well, unfortunately for us fans of the franchise, the talented developers at Yager, who also worked on Spec Ops The Line, were removed from the project. And why, you may ask? For the exact same reasons Deep Silver didn't want Techland to work on Dead Island 2. Yager's vision for the game had begun to differ from that of the publisher, Deep Silver. It was then handed over to Sumo Digital in 2017, a studio with zero experience in any genre even slightly similar to Dead Island's, and a development team with no specific qualities that would make them fit for the job, as their work spans widely different titles, stretching from Little Big Planet to Xbox Fitness, but nothing that moderately resembles the FPS zombie genre. So I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Merely 2 years after Sumo Digital took control of its development, the game's publisher Deep Silver was acquired by THQ Nordic. Another year later and Sumo Digital was silently removed from the project with no explanation given, although the explanation is fairly obvious given the title's profound history, allowing Dambuster Studios to become the developer of Dead Island 2 in 2019, something that does not instill confidence with me because they worked on Homefront the Revolution, meaning at most the game only had around 3 to 4 years of active development if it were to release next year in February like the Amazon listing reported, despite the incredible levels of development hell the game has been through for the better part of a decade. This is down to the problem of moving games between studios. It's not something that's commonplace for a reason. In fact, it's a goddamn miracle if this game ever actually does release. Moving games from one studio to another is an overwhelming task, and it is in no way, shape or form close to an easy job to do, no matter how far into development a game is, especially when you have not 2 but 3 vastly different developers who have had enough with Deep Silver's and potentially THQ's Nordic's quote-unquote vision for whatever Dead Island 2 is now. We currently have zero information on what the game actually will be like, and well, that isn't surprising since even the developers blatantly didn't understand what they were being tasked to develop until at the earliest 2019. If you purely look at Sumo Digital's portfolios of titles they've developed, even if you look at their most recent games, they've never constructed something similar to Dead Island. I honestly don't think it's much of a stretch to say that what we originally saw of Dead Island 2's gameplay at Gamescom would be the complete opposite of whatever Sumo were creating. After all, most of the games they've made have been either racing titles or third-person video games with not a single game under their belt, slightly resembling the likes of Dead Island. To cut to the chase, there's no telling what this game is going to be like at the moment. With a supposedly leaked release date of February 2023, there are way too many questions left in the air right now, and it seems as if THQ Nordic is gearing up for Dead Island 2 to fail miserably, which I personally can't see it doing myself. But either way, every piece of information I can see is pointing towards THQ using a fact check from Epic Games given through exclusivity deals for the Epic Games Store as a safety net in case it is a massive flop, since Epic Games loves to be anti-consumer with exclusivity deals that only benefit the developers in the short term by typically covering development costs for them. A brilliant way for THQ Nordic to ensure a game that's been in development hell for almost a decade is not a massive risk for their profit margin, which is also exactly what they've done for the Saints Row reboot, which doesn't look great.
In line? What the fuck?
Didn't get a bonus.
Actual fuck?
And
What the actual goddamn fuck?
you would
What
never
actual
believe.
goddamn motherfucking goddamn fuck?
Yeah.
Crap.
I'm guessing there might be some music playing right now. If you, I turned off the licensed
shit,
music.
Goddamn fucking shit. Crap,
There might be some
son of
music
a
right now.
bitch,
I
ass
don't know.
Swipe,
Probably
piss,
is.
Swipe, crap, and crap.
How does that work?
But unfortunately, exclusivity deals like this with Epic have managed to kill almost every single game they've signed on PC, and it comes at the cost of losing most PC sales, as shown by Epic losing over $300 million due to these anti-consumer deals. In the case of Dead Island 2, I for once really cannot blame the publisher for using Epic's oversized Fortnite wallet as a safety net. There has essentially been no other game with development hell quite like Dead Island 2. The only one that comes close is Duke Nukem Forever, and we all know how that turned out. Now, I of course could not make a video on this topic without covering the recent Amazon listing that's now being removed, showing us the latest look at Dead Island 2, which have shown the game to potentially have taken an entirely different direction than Yager Studios originally planned, by making it drastically more dark, gritty, and strangely leaning towards a Dying Light tone, just set in California. And it certainly doesn't appear to be alike to Yager's initial plans, where the game would have been the quote-unquote world's smallest MMO with the humor of the trailer. And considering how long it's taken for this game to even come close to releasing outside of Yager's evidently almost finished build, it's abundantly clear major changes were made in order to please Deep Silver. Unfortunately, we may never see the same humor in the game as the recently leaked intro evidently made by Yager. Whether those changes will be for the better is yet to be seen, and only time will tell. To sum up the video in a sweet and concise manner, you should not buy Dead Island 2 until at least when it launches, to ensure there's enough credible reviews from people within the industry so you can make a genuinely informed decision on whether or not you want to play this game, and so you can get a basic idea of if it's total dog shit or not. Things haven't been looking bright for the Dead Island franchise in nearly a decade, and the future for Dead Island 2 is only just starting to look dimly lit. I know I sure as hell hope it's a great game, as I am a massive fan of the original title, but everything in its development history and the recent news surrounding what are clear safety nets are not filling me with hope. Honestly, at this point, even an amazing trailer on par with the original could not get me to pre-order it if I didn't plan on reviewing it eventually, simply because of the PTSD I developed from Cyberpunk 2077, which is a game with significantly better development cycles than Dead Island 2, which I think says enough in and of itself. And these are some of the issues I have with purchasing the product without directly addressing the clear mistreatment of developers and their studios due to this franchise for over a decade, undeniably mistreating its developers as if they're some kind of hand-me-down. You do not go through 3 studios without serious problems occurring behind the scenes, and you certainly do not attempt to silently remove a developer from a game whilst replacing them with dam-busters. After all, we are mostly talking about Deep Silver here, the same publisher which killed the Saints Row franchise by forcing Volition into making Agents of Mayhem, almost bankrupting the company in the process. So with all that being said, we have finally reached the end of my video, and I hope this was an insightful video covering the wild development hell the Dead Island franchise has forever been cursed with. And as all YouTubers are obligated to ask by law, please do not forget to check out my Discord server, Twitter, as well as like, comment and subscribe, so that I will see you all in the next video.